all. So I recorded a video, I think a couple weeks ago now, talking about truths that we'd learned that maybe weren't true. And thank you all for your suggestions. I have a whole pile of stuff that some of it very visceral and some of it very sad about things that we're taught or things that we learn as employees of these large corporations that are unhealthy, were true at one time, but just aren't true now. The one I want to talk about now is about consistency or centralization or everything being the same. And we will hear this a lot, that people will tell us we need to be consistent, or we need to have a standard or a best practice. And we will ask why. And that question is jarring to people. People will give us answers, well, because being inconsistent is inefficient, or because if we're inconsistent, how can we control it? Or if we're inconsistent, doesn't that mean that everybody's solving the same problem rather than really taking advantage of economies of scale? And this, once again, falls into the mistake of false dichotomies. The idea that one thing is inherently good and one thing is inherently bad. And if we believe that consistency is always good or only good, then we're really missing what consistency or standardization is good for and what it is not good for. And a lot of this comes down to some good old fundamental OO techniques, where we have to start thinking about, are we putting things together that belong together, so cohesion, and are we considering coupling? So when you standardize something, when you say this is the one true best way, everyone must do it, that means now everyone is coupled to that decision. So you better make sure that you are right, that this is the one true best way of doing it, because if you change it, now everyone has to change. That standard has a carrying cost. So if you are incorrect and this is not the one true best way, and this is not the standard that everyone should follow, and there are perfectly valid reasons to vary or to iterate or to grow or to improve, well, now you've made that very hard. So if you standardize and centralize something that is currently in flux, that you have not tested, that is new, that is changeable, that is context sensitive, you've now made it so that people are likely to use something that is not good for them. You've also discouraged change. So for example, I love wearing Vans shoes. I really love them. I hate tying my shoes. I love slip-ons. So I wear a lot of Vans slip-ons. I could say that is a best practice everyone must follow. Works for me. Y'all should do it. And I will roll that out, right? So I thought about it. I think it's good. I'm going to make everybody wear Vans shoes. We're going to save money on tying our shoes. You don't have to wear socks if you don't want to. They're pretty durable, like multi-weather. There you go. Everybody's going to wear Vans. As I roll it out, I've put together a communication strategy. I've spent months planning this. There's a ton of budget behind it. I start to hear rumblings and feedback that some people have arch problems and these shoes are not working for them. Some people have to work like in high weather conditions, like let's say they're in the mud a lot. That's not working for them. Some people are in construction and they need steel-toed protection in order to keep their feet safe. Some people need anti-slip. They're working in kitchens or on floors that often get wet, and the Vans don't offer anti-slip protection. Well, now I've learned that this stuff doesn't work for them. So I have two choices. Choice number one is to change the standard. Now I've got to go through a whole nother change approval process, get everybody to agree we're going to change it, go through all the communication again. It might be a year before I do that. Option two is to ignore that feedback and make everybody use it anyway. And to say, well, you'll just have to figure it out. Neither one of those options is great. Both of those options are expensive and painful, and in the meantime, people are being forced to do something that doesn't work for them. That is a great example of us rolling out standards, us rolling out rules or best practices without really making sure that we're ready for them. So that's an untested standard. There are examples, though, where a standard really makes sense. So I'm going to roll out to everyone that from now on in the United States, this is what your electrical outlet is going to look like. So in your house, we're going to mandate this is the standard. We're going to have inspectors come and make sure that it complies with this. And every plug from now on needs to be able to plug into this standard. This has come after decades of research. We've had lots and lots of fights over AC and DC current, over how things are going to be produced. We've had lots of time to study, and now we're going to roll out the standard. The industry has agreed, and we've agreed that this is going to work for us for the next 50 years. That's a pretty good example of a standard. It's been well researched, it's had time to mature, it's to the point now where we feel like it's something that everyone can and should adopt. It's going to simplify our lives, and rolling out the standard actually makes things easier to iterate. Because if I don't have to worry about how I'm going to plug into the wall or use electricity, now I can worry about making a great vacuum cleaner or a great cell phone. And that is a standard that is going to stand the test of time and need very few updates or interventions or changes. So standards should be mature. They should have a reason to be centralized, and that reason should be compelling and well documented. They should be tested to make sure that reason is true, and we should be ready for the carrying cost of maintaining those. So if you roll out a standard, make sure your business case for that standard includes maintenance, upkeep, research, responding to change, etc. Standards aren't inherently good. Not having standards is also not inherently good, but let's make sure as we're looking at them that we're considering cohesion and coupling, and we're really making sure we've decided that centralization and standardization is the right solution for the right problem, and we're ready for all of the unintended consequences, side effects, and costs of maintaining it.